Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial for my tender and lovely arrangement of the worship song Give Thanks. In this tutorial, I'm going to go over any potential trouble spots and offer you some insight into my thinking as the arranger. So by and large in this tutorial, I want to go over how to interpret it, and that's going to get into a lot of what my thinking was as the arranger. So overall, I was aiming for something very tender, as I described, but very worshipful and heartfelt, very meaningful, very meditative. It's a Thanksgiving song, and I wanted to communicate the heartfeltness that's inherent in the spirit of gratefulness. The whole idea of gratefulness is that we're thinking about our blessings and we're giving thanks, and it's a very deep spiritual thing, and so I wanted to try to communicate that in the arrangement. So right at the beginning, I introduce a melody and a motif, like that. And that's really pretty. And then your left hand has this complementary melody up against it. And I want to start here because it's not too often that we pianists get especially in sacred music literature, a melodic left hand part. And usually, the lion's share of our left hand parts are just providing the bass, the harmonic structure. It's usually in the form of a chord or an arpeggio or something like that. And it's not too often that the left hand gets this melodic part. And I'm going to play it an octave higher so I don't bump into the camera stand. So don't be alarmed by that. I'm exaggerating that left hand part, but you can see how that's very melodic and it's very beautiful and it's very pleasant. And your right hand is just hanging on this G note for 3 beats. So that left hand part kind of fills in that gap. So my encouragement to you as the pianist is to milk that. When you play it, enjoy the fact that you got a melodic part in your left hand. Oops, sorry. Let it sing. Let it be something for the audience to really enjoy. And then when you get to the first verse here at measure 5, you have an accompanimental part that's just quarter note chords. But they're very rich and they're very dense. And that's really pretty in its own way, that kind of dissonance of those seconds and suspensions and things like, and sevenths and things like that are very beautiful. But when the entire range that you're playing is a 12th or so, you've got a melody in there and you've got these dense chords, it's easy for the melody to get lost. So my encouragement here is to just let that melody pop out. Let those chords be very soft, very subtle. They're not foreground. The fact that each one gets stated 4 times means you do not need to give it emphasis. We're going to get the idea if you play it really as softly as you can. I could have even put a pianissimo dynamic marking there, because that's how I'm kind of thinking about it when I play it. Now, if you struggle with bringing out a melody on top of an accompaniment like that, where your hand is playing both an accompaniment and a melody, and you've got to play them at different volumes, the best thing I can offer in terms of strategy for mastering that technique is to play them separately. Just take your right hand, for example, play that melody note at the volume you would want to, and then the accompaniment at the volume that you want it to be at, and go back and forth. And you see how I'm raising the finger. I'm not moving my whole body. I'm literally, it's kind of like calisthenics. I'm exercising my fingers as I'm doing this. I'm leaving my wrist and my hand and my arm relaxed. I'm making my fingers themselves as rigid as they need to be. And I'm letting the movement come just from the individual fingers. And when I feel good about that, then I'll try to do it together. I'm going to start by just keeping them separate, but bringing them together more and more. Like that. And then I'll bring in the left hand, just take it slow. You could even stop once the melody changes. So it's really one of those things like riding a bike where you just got to work at it, and it feels like you're trying to learn something that's impossible to do, and then all of a sudden a light bulb will turn on, and you'll get it. You'll have it. It's really a coordination thing. It's not as much a strength and technique thing as much it is that, but really it's a head thing. And once you're able to split your fingers apart in your mind, and that just takes practice. It just takes putting in the time doing it. But once you get that mentally, then you've got it. It's really not a challenge after that. So then that continues, and we get to the chorus at measure 21. And now let the weak say I am strong. That part. Now, in my thinking, you're welcome to not do what I'm about to say. But in my thinking, in this arrangement, I wanted to keep everything very subtle. And I didn't want to really grow to a forte dynamic until later in the song. So I don't want the chorus, I didn't intend, and I don't have it marked here, for the chorus to really be this big boost in dynamic or energy level. It's really just a continuation of the verse, and the fact that you have just a subtle difference in the accompaniment. This dotted eighth and a 16th note separates it in terms of feel from the verses. And then you've got these counter melodies. So again, filling the gap. You've got a melody note that's being held for 3 beats, and so I insert a counter melody in that space. And now, this right here. My encouragement to you is to not let that become foreground. It is a counter melody. It is very beautiful. It is filling a space where the main melody is not moving, I should say. But I think in the spirit of the song, when we sing that, we hold it out. And now let the weak say I. It's very passionate, and you don't want that counter melody to take over and take away from that moment. Like that. So let it just sit in the background. I think even just being, everybody's going to know it. The right hand and the left hand are playing that counter melody. It's not going to get lost. Sometimes playing things more subtly like that actually draws our attention more to it. So it's kind of a paradox there. We don't want to draw away from the main melody, but at the same time, in playing subtly that counter melody, we're actually drawing more attention to it. And I think that's what really is going to make the performance of this profound versus just mechanical, is if you put in those dynamic variances. So, all that to say, don't let the counter melodies here take away, it happens again at measure 23. Don't let them take away from the main melody. Keep them subtle. Okay, well, then we get to the second time through the verse at measure 29. And this is where maybe technically it gets a little bit more challenging. I offer up some fingering here, and I just keep that fingering through, I think, just about this whole verse. Sorry. 1, 2, 1. Just keep it consistent. That's the easiest way to do that. There's a little melody at 35 that your left hand gets some foreground again. I try to milk that. I try to really bring that out. Well, it's hard to play it at the angle that I'm at here. Then you get to the second statement of the verse at measure 37. fun. I mean, at this point, we all know the melody. I mean, it's a very familiar song, right? We already know it. But even if somebody doesn't know it, by this point, it's the fourth statement of that melody. Give thanks with a grateful heart. So, enjoy this part beginning at measure 37, where you've got a left hand accompaniment that's kind of borrowing from that bird-like idea from the beginning. And then your right hand is also doing it. It's really beautiful, it's really fun, it's really interesting, it's really satisfying to play. So just enjoy it. Don't worry so much about the melody here. And then when you get to the fourth page here, beginning at measure 47, you have what is probably the most challenging part for the pianist. I put some fingering in there that I was using that's helpful for me. It's just awkward, and there's no other way to say it. There's no other way to get around it. So I would suggest practicing hands separately if you're struggling with it, and then bringing your hands together slowly and then gradually speeding it up. When you hit this D flat chord at measure 43, then the fingering actually gets really easy, and because of that, 43 is actually easier than 42, at least for me anyway. Yeah, once I kind of figured out that fingering, that each little twist starts on my second finger, then it's really easy. Yeah, I think it's really the only challenge there, and that'll take us to the end. So I hope that was helpful. I hope I covered everything that is challenging to you in learning this arrangement. Honestly, the biggest thing for me, in terms of what I was thinking about when I arranged it and when I played it for the demo, and what I would want you to be aware of, is just that spirit of bringing out the melody, but really milking those left-hand parts and those counter melodies and the dense harmony. It's really an arrangement for reveling. It's not so much like a classical piece where you've just got virtuosity everywhere on every measure, and it's not like counterpoint, like a 4-part invention or something, or a fugue or something like that, where you've got multiple melodies that are just racing by each other but always complementing each other. It's at root, it's a simple arrangement. It may not, depending on your skill level, it may not be simple to play or to learn, but its idea behind the arrangement is a very simple one. But it's just so rich, I think. Just those harmonies and those counter melodies and that little motif idea, that it's ripe for just really, really enjoying those sounds. And I know for me, that's what I love, the sound of the piano, and I love when an arranger or a composer writes something that just brings out the beauty of the instrument, of the sound of the instrument, and that's what I try to do with this arrangement. And I feel like when I play it, that I'm getting that from the arrangement. And so I hope that's the case for you. And so just enjoy it and perform it in such a way that your audience will feel that and be able to enjoy it as well. That's the biggest thing that I wanted to communicate in this tutorial. Okay, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.